Venice, one of the haunting wonders of the world, incomparable and beyond envy, casts endless echoes and reflections and tender twilight charm. This wistful water city was, to Napoleon, the best drawing room in Europe. If so, the man who for the past 40 years has carried in the drinks, who runs what's probably the most famous bar in the world, 14 feet wide and shorter than a gondola, is Giuseppe Cipriani, the ultimate barman. To those who use his tiny bar, unchanged since it opened in 1931, he's the perfect professional host, attentive, observant, shrewd. Here you'll see anybody who's anybody, plus a few anybody's who nobody.
I drink champagne.
French champagne? But this is Italian.
Half and half. It's an Italian champagne with a French name.
The bar's always looked like a railway station waiting room, for he believes people are the best decor, and certainly most of the world's well-known have, at some time or other, sought to catch his eye across a crowded room.
They always have a little noise in the bar. Then people, they start to drink, they don't listen to what's happening next to your table, because they think they are alone, you see? And therefore you get an atmosphere. Or like in a restaurant, if you go in a restaurant without any smell of something, it mustn't be a smell in a restaurant, but it must be some little
nuance.
After all, it smells good. For instance, if you come in here and you have a woman with you, I can do with you what I want. If I know that the woman is interested, I can offer you caviar, I can offer you French champagne, instead Italian champagne, and you can say no.
People began saying yes to Cipriani back in 1929 when he was a barman at the Europa Hotel. One of his regulars was a young Bostonian called Harry Pickering, who then lost his money in the Wall Street crash. So Cipriani lent him all his savings and the American disappeared. 3 months later he returned and repaid the loan plus a $5,000 thank you. With this they opened Harry's Bar, and the immediate local success was followed by international fame when Cipriani's friend Ernest Hemingway used it for scenes in a novel and in real life.
You used to fight, I'm told, sometimes.
Well, to fight with some other writers, but not with us. He was a very nice man. He made us lots of publicity, but in another way, I made him publicity because he used my name to get popular.
Hemingway wrote, "Cipriani's more than intelligent, he's a craftsman. One day, he'll own the whole of Venice. He's not doing badly." Apart from that almost anonymous bar on the Grand Canal, there's his Locanda Cipriani on Torcello, one of the islands in the Venetian lagoon. He runs as an hotel the old Guinness family house at Asolo in the foothills of the Alps, and with Guinness money, he's built on the Giudecca, across from the Piazza San Marco, an even more expensive palace for 250 guests. Cipriani's 70. He saw the century in and says he intends to see it out. He has the calculating eye and palate of a man who began as a pastry cook and spent 50 culinary years keeping customers happy, offering a blend of impeccable taste, business instinct, and a Khrushchevian benevolence.
So I can always smile, I see.
Yes.
Because I'm paid, I do all
But
the
of course, up to now, you've had quite a lot to smile about, because it's been going very well.
Of course, I have to work like a Negro here, but I get no satisfaction, especially Cipriani. No business I did was wrong, not one. Everything, I suggested them to make Asolo, and they had big success in Asolo. It's a big success. You see,
yes.
Everything I do,
Yes.
that's my power. I must have something. That's it.
You say that you're a connoisseur of people. Now,
More or
what does
less.
that mean?
I mean, I can see at once if he's, I can see in his pocket what he got or what not, you see. Especially when I was young. Now I don't pay anymore so much attention.
Do you mean you're
But I can see if he wants to talk, if he wants, there are people, they don't want to be bothered, you see. There are other people, they like the conversation.
They like to have a fuss made
Yes,
of
like a fuss, they like to know, they make you compliments, you see. Of course, if you make a long face, they're afraid to tell you something, you know.
This is being a psychologist, I suppose.
I think so. I should be a diplomat.
In his city without wheels, life's unlike existence anywhere else in the world. For several centuries, Venice has been part museum, part amusement park, living off the entrance fees of visitors, a holiday camp by Canaletto. Venetians love to ponder upon the pageant of their pedigree, for they invented income tax and state censorship of books, the gambling casino and the ghetto. And today their self-centered city lives on in a mellow, narcissistic glow. It's a capital city for gossip, it seems.
That's it, see.
Everybody...
Of course, especially they make lots of fun out of everybody, see?
I mean, your bar in particular.
Yes,
really,
yes, but everything. Then the neighbor where you are, they always, if you see those old Venetian women, because here everything is done in the road in the old days, and even now. If you go in these popular districts, you see people sitting outside of the door. Because the houses are not so comfortable, they are small or
dark.
And so they always sit, and then of course they talk each other. And everyone who passed through gets his, they know everyone.
The thing is, everybody knows everybody else's business.
That's it.
They're specialists in other people's business.
Because if you stay in Venice, if you have a house in Venice, after 3 months they know you. And the moment they don't see you, they get worried. You see.
Because you're a Venetian by adoption, really. You weren't born here.
Yes, I'm Veronese. I came from Verona, you see. Then when I was 4 years old, I went to Germany, made all my school in Germany.
Is it true that you couldn't speak Italian?
No, I couldn't speak a word Italian. I picked up my Italian right here.
Did you?
I've been in school only in Germany, you see. I was quite a good pupil.
But you spoke Venetian dialect always?
Well, no, Veronese dialect, you see, Veronese dialect, Italian, all the mixed up, you see. They called me the German for many years. Also now, you see, if you observe my English, it's not an Italian accent, don't you think so?
No.
It's more the German accent.
Perhaps, yes.
Because I translate from the German, see?
Yes.
When I was in France, they thought I'm a Pole. That's the Grand Canal again here. That was the old Europa which I told you, see? That was where the mainstay who gave me the money, see? To start Harry's Bar, Harry Pickering. That was the nicest hotel that time in Venice. Small, but very, very nice.
I lived here for a year once, and I loved it, and I've never forgotten a moment of it.
Yes, I'm sure, especially when you come back, then you are again, if you were home again, see?
The thing about Venice is that you never cease to wonder, you know. Every time I went down this Grand Canal on the Vaporetto, it was as though it was the first time, you know, and you look around as though you've never seen it before.
And it's always the same, very little things have changed here.
No, exactly.
If you look at the pictures of Canaletto and the Guardis, it's the Venice of now.
That's the Venice of Canaletto.
Yes, Canaletto, also the Giudecca, San Giorgio, you see.
Even Venetians sometimes feel the need to escape from the splendour of their translucent world. Once a week, Cipriani's son drives inland to fish for grayling and pike. Born a year after the bar opened and named, needless to say, Harry, he's now managing that legend.
You should know better than anyone.
Yes.
What do you think is the secret of your father's success?
I think, I think to me he's a very simple man, very straight man. And I think he's like that also with his customers. Of course work is the base of his success, mainly.
Yes.
And he makes everybody feel comfortable at home, I think. And that is the secret.
He's got a nice touch with people, but it's not a very profound touch. I mean, when he talks to them, he's saying superficialities always, isn't he? How are you? Are you comfortable? Do you need anything else? Anything I can do for you?
Well, that is, I think, what people expect.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, but you're a lawyer, aren't you?
I am a lawyer, yes.
Well, what made you... I mean, running a bar is a very different activity to appearing in court.
At first, I thought... when I finished my high school, I thought I was going to be a lawyer. And then the day came of my first examinations. And I passed it, but not with a very glorious, not very gloriously anyway.
Yeah.
And so 3 hours later, I was behind the cash register.
No, but there's something about personality involved, you see. I mean, could there be a Harry's Bar in anywhere but Venice? Is it the city that makes the bar that makes the people that makes the bar?
The city makes a lot for Harry's Bar because in Venice, people changes all the time.
Yes.
And, you know, if you have a place and you have the same people all the time, all year round, they really get bored of it at the end, you see. And in Harry's Bar, we have such a variety of people. For instance, if you come now, you see it under a certain point of view. If you come in July, you will see it different if you come in June. And I think that is Venice. Only Venice can give that to a bar.
Because your clientele changes with the seasons.
That's right. Yes.
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 And then at the end, in winter time, the Venetians come back to the bar and enjoy it for 4 months all by themselves, you see.
So, when the tourists have gone, Harry's bar becomes the scene of the Ferrari people, the Lamborghini people, even the motorboat people.
I've discovered that if we stay open a little later than midnight, and we get the wrong kind of customers, you know.
I see. But what about now in winter, when they're mainly Venetians?
Well, you see, the Venetians, really, the Venetians, they go back home quite early, actually.
They do?
Yeah, they do. Right.
So how many hours a day do you have? I mean, you get up, you go to the market in the morning, then you go out fishing, or you go on your boat or something?
No, I don't. I'm at the bar at 10 o'clock in the morning and stay there about until 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes.
And then from 3 to 6, I go fishing, sailing, motorboats, all these things.
It's not a bad old life, you know.
The bar has only 12 tables, but even in winter it's so packed Arrigo's opened an overflow upstairs.
Senti, chiudi la finestrina di sopra e accendi l'aspiratore tutta forte. Angelo, this way.
Milanese tycoons will travel a couple of 100 miles to dine on Harry's scampi, which always taste the way they used to.
Vuole accomodarsi, signora.
Arrigo's continued his father's tradition of watchful, amiable concern, which has always attracted a star-studded cast.
Because one day I have 4 kings in Harrisburg, you know that? Yes. I had the king of Spain, I have the queen of Holland, I had the king of Greece and the king of Yugoslavia, just for accident, without any meeting. Just came in, you see. One day I remember Princess Spas, you see. She came, you know, Princess Spas of Greece. She gave a dinner party one night. And then, of course, the man came in, the captain or one of the crew of a merchant ship, you see, who was 2 meters high and with such shoulders, you see. And she said to me, Cipriani, tell the gentleman over there to take his head off. The head, not the capella. And so I said, well, all right, I shall tell you, see. So I went up and, please, gentlemen, will you give me your head? Then he said, no, I keep my head on, he said. All right. I told her, I look here, Princess, he doesn't want to take his head off. Well, welcome to that. Have you seen his size, you see? He's 2 meters high and he got that shoulders. I'm a little man, I cannot do that. I said, hey, call the police. No, we cannot call the police in Italy for such things, you see. He's paying, he's having a drink, he doesn't bother you. He doesn't care if you are there or not. I mean, you cannot. And so you know what she did then? Then she went up and took him his head off. Then he put his head on top again, and his head, and then sit with her there. And so they had a long confrontation. Then the guest came along, and he was always there. So to make it short, she paid him the dinner. She bought she spoiled the whole party, and then they left all together.
From a barman who's made it, a view not only diplomatic, but tolerant.
We had bad debts, but it wasn't too bad. Especially I worked for nothing for many, many years. Of course, now we start to make money because we have a huge client.
Who are the sort of people the bad debts come from? I mean, is it the artists, the film stars, the aristocracy?
Aristocracy. People maybe also forgot to pay, you see.
Well,
I'm sure a very great English name is still in my list. I don't dare to ask him to buy. He forgot all about it.
you've got a list, have you?
He's in my list. He forgot to tell it. He comes to Venice every year. He has been with me up in Cortina. See, all this.
Yes.
What will you do? You cannot suit them. It costs you more to suit them than to make them pay, you see.
Venice sprang from the sea 15 centuries ago, so it may be an aesthetic completion that she's now sinking back once again into the salt. Her crumbling foundations undermined by an endless seaborne rush hour, she's going down at a rate of 3 millimeters a year. The sea can no longer be held at bay, and every winter Venice is flooded. Neglect's aggravated by enormous ships ploughing right through the center of a city built for gondolas. Improbably, Venice is the second port of Italy.
outside your palace here, you have all these oil tankers going backwards and forwards. Is this a step in the right direction, or?
Well, they oughtn't to be too huge, but otherwise I think they're rather fun. I enjoy looking at them.
But you have a liner outside this very palace, an enormous
huge liner.
Well, now, do you welcome people looking through their portholes into your...
You see, I live backside, so I don't really mind.
The Contessa Giustiniani entertains members of Italia Nostra, a sort of national trust, who tell each other tales of the great floods.
Nothing happened to the house. I mean, it was swamped, of course.
Oh, I see.
Well, whoever was downstairs crept upstairs.
Yes.
I mean, all Portineria just came upstairs.
Yes.
That's when I came here, they were kind of eyes popping. What happened? I said, yes, I know by now because I saw the television, but I didn't realize what was happening. No, but I think life is very pleasant in Venice, in spite of all.
In spite of the fact you're sinking fast.
Oh, yeah. But let's not exaggerate.
We keep hearing that Venice is falling into the sea.
Nothing is, it's all wrong what they say, that when Venice is sinking.
Is it?
It's all wrong. Nothing is sinking. I'm afraid that Venice some days will be, what do you say, grounded up, no more water. Water will go. Because the rivers, they bring dirt in it, they bring sand in, they bring stone, you see.
Yes.
Like Ravenna. Ravenna once was like Venice, and now it's mainland.
But they say that the waters are rising an inch every year.
No, it isn't true. It isn't true. Because we never had such low tide like now. They never ride up that. They only talk about high tide, but they never talk about low tide. We have never had such low tide like now. And now you start to see land which we never had before.
And then they talk about the sulfur fumes that are corroding all the monuments.
That's also, well, that's natural. After 2,000-3,000 years, you get corroded. Even the Alps are falling down, slowly. Look, the Greek monuments, they started to break down now. But it's not the smoke who ruins Venice. It's not smoke here.
You just don't want to discourage the tourists, that's what you...
No. I tell you the truth, because people are saying Venice is sinking. They only do that to get business off of somebody. Interest.
A funeral?
That's a funeral, that's right. That's right. I don't like those barges. I should like to be brought to in the cemetery with the gondola.
Oh.
That's wonderful. Have you never seen the gondola?
Yes, I have. Covered in flowers.
Covered in flowers, 4 gondoliers, very quiet, smooth around. That's the cemetery over there. We are passing through now.
Is that where you're going to be buried?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I already bought my little place there.
Have you?
Yes, sir.
Have you? Well, you've got at least 30 years to go yet.
Well, I don't know. Any moment is good. We are always prepared. I will try to make, every time I pass through, I say always hello to my friends who are in there. One day I shall come and see you.
Now, we're on our way to Torcello.
Here, right there, here.
This island had 20,000 inhabitants until mosquitoes drove them away. For centuries there was only a vast deserted church until...
One morning a lawyer, Proti, waited me outside of my house and said, Cipriani, I must speak to you. I said, all right, lawyer, what do you want, Mr. Proti? He says, I have to offer you a restaurant in Torcello. And I say, which one? The one opposite the bridge? Yes, he says. How much do they want? 32,000 lira. It's all right, I say, it's done.
Venetian visitors can't escape Cipriani. He's a triple threat. Guests at his hotel move on to his bar and then are transported here, captive willing boatloads. He can prove by massive visitors' books the caliber of his guests. For this is where Ernest Hemingway stayed and wrote Across the River and Into the Trees, where the Rothschilds come en masse, where Clementine Churchill brought a famous artist to dine and to paint. Film stars have stayed and played, and plenty of royals, some off their thrones, some squarely upon them.
Union Jack, Elizabeth, and Philip.
Oh, you see.
Now, how is it that the Queen came here?
Because, you see, the Duke of Edinburgh used to be my friend. He used to come here with the Malta Navy, the British Navy. He was in Malta every year before he went mad. But when she came to Venice, he wanted to show her Torcello.
Yes.
And then she had a very good time. We made lots of plates ready because she didn't have to wait to order.
Yes.
She had drunk everything. She has never been so happy in her life. And I didn't prepare her waiters with gloves or nothing. That's simple. I took the order. I suggested her.
Yes.
She didn't want to have white wine. I just poured out wine just the same. I treated her like an ordinary person.
What did you serve? What food?
Well, white wine, because they had gnocchis. I had to choose between gnocchi, risotto, spaghetti. They couldn't choose what they wanted.
The usual menu.
And they ate everything. They ate the spaghetti, the gnocchi. She has a taste of everything. A taste of all the fishes we had.
Really?
A taste of all the grills we had. And then the Duke of Edinburgh at the end went to see the cook. He wanted to see the cook.
Did he?
We shook hands with him. And I think still now he hasn't washed that hand anymore. Because he started to cry after that.
Did he?
Yes, he started to cry.
You mean the hand that shook the hand of the Duke of Edinburgh prepared this lunch for me? It's too much. What about Winston Churchill? How did he come to be here?
He used to come here only for painting.
Cigarette. To paint?
Only to paint.
Because you still use one of his paintings on your menus, I see.
Because, you see, when I knew that he was interested in painting, so I bought him a nice book about Torcello, and I sent it to him.
Yes.
And I told him I would like to have... Era Picasso, è stato da Picasso. Quando è stato qui? In che anno? Gianni, chiamala Gabriele.
Signorina, per favore.
This book is going to be worth a lot of money, isn't it?
Oh, yes, no, those two books there. Huh?
One day. Even the paintings alone.
Wonderful. Because they had time to paint here, see?
Chagall. It's not very beautiful, is it?
No, it isn't. I think these days, you see, it's happening something the opposite in the old days. The old good painter, they all died in misery, without any money. And people who bought their paintings, they are all very rich today. Today, it's the opposite. Now, all these big painters like Picasso, like Chagall, they make millions. Like Sutherland, they make millions.
Graham Sutherland.
Graham Sutherland.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
a very rich man. No, he makes millions. He stays 2 months at the Cipriani, and before he leaves, he makes a little drawing. Then he says, I want 3 million for that.
Now, Temple Fielding said your bar in Harry's bar was full of homosexuals.
In which year?
In some year. Does that do you any damage?
Nothing does any damage. In that case, they come and see the homosexuals. And if they don't want to see them, they get disappointed, so they come again until they find them.
But is it true? Is it true that it's full of homosexuals? I didn't know.
We have some. The homosexuals are
Everywhere.
the most intelligent people in the world sometimes.
Yeah.
If they're homosexual, because there are also people who are going with the homosexuals, which are not homosexual.
Yes.
Those are the terrible people.
Uh-huh.
I have nothing against the homosexuals, because they're born that way. But you cannot go against the cripple. I mean,
No.
they're unnormal, you see.
Yes.
So if you are born homosexual, it's not your fault.
Yes.
After all, you don't like fish soup, you like macaroni. It's the same thing. I don't like cheese. You cannot kill me because I don't like cheese, no?
Yes. Yes.
Those are the homosexuals, but there are people who are making money out of the homosexuals. Those are the terrible people. I
Yes.
could shoot such people.
He plans another large hotel upon this island, an inevitable success, since with his sharp financial sense he knows just what the traffic will allow.
You see, my experience in your bar was that you didn't always demand the money, but when I did pay, I often paid too much.
No, I don't think so. Not in Harris Bar. That cannot happen. Because my standards are a little bit like me. Maybe you pay less, but never too much, because no, you must also see the quality of things we give you. Anyhow, it's your fault. You should have introduced yourself.
No, but one is too polite to protest, you
All right,
see.
then I did this question, but when you arrive, you must say who you are. Because we have the right price, but of course, you see, if Barbara Hartman comes in, she pays more.
Does she?
Oh, she pays more. Why should we not charge her more? Because I know she's stupid, she's got lots of money, why she should not pay? She's paying also for people who are not used to pay.
Well, then you must be confusing me with Barbara Hartman.
The millionairesses, the captains and the queens depart. sent upon their way most professionally.
Brown, I hope you have enjoyed your stay.
Oh, we have immensely.
Hotel.
We've enjoyed it extremely.
So keep you well.
Thank you.
Have a nice journey.
Thank
I hope
you
to
so
see you again
much.
next
I
year.
hope so.
Next time you
Harry Pickering, the frail Bostonian who started this elegant empire and gave his name to the bar, died in 1948. But there's no doubt his Italian bartender friend has maintained for him a lively memorial.